welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. It is rather wild to see La République du Cameroon's occupational military, under its administration's directive, using violence against the peoples of Amazonia, ironically thinking it will end the war of liberation, instead of dealing with the crux of the matter. More rape cases on Amazonian victims by La République gendarmes have been seen this week. After more than 63 years of colonial occupation by the colonizing Republic of Cameroon, neglecting the historicity and legal standing of the course for total independence and recognition. The Amazonia, the independence of the British Southern Cameroon's Amazonia has been proven as sin in the determination of Amazonians to be irreversible. What the people of the British Southern Cameroon's Amazonia have always wanted is for La République to withdraw its colonial administration and its terrorizing forces of colonial occupation from the British Southern Cameroon's Amazonia and to respect the integrity of its international borders obtained on the day of its independence on January 1st, 1960. There's been quite a lot of happenings on the home front, as we'd expect more on the African and global scene, which we'll get into right after the prime headlines.
Here are the prime headlines for tonight. Tonight, we'll start with a report of the elegant mistake of TV San Monday, Amazonian government demanding an apology from them. Also tonight, diplomatic institutions pressure La Republic de Cameroon to bring killers of journalists to book. Paradox of quality healthcare in Amazonia and La Republic de Cameroon will be another focus. Persistent blackouts looms as La Republic de Cameroon ignores momentum fall from Valley Dam. Colonial La Republic de Cameroon soldiers raid and kill a young girl in Santa Barbara. Well, tonight, on the African scene, we will be looking at reclaiming the heritage, Africa's quest for cultural restitution and Western ties. U.S. entrenchment in Middle East tensions and global security and currency shuffling amid military advancement is on the global politics. Now let's get the news in full detail. La République de Cameroon, the state of electricity supplier, Energy of Cameroon (ENIL), has attributed the frequent blackouts observed recently in the country, especially in Amazonia and the colonial capital Yaoundé, respectively, to the low volume of water discharged to the Chon turbines at the Mbemvele Dam. The company is responding to the reality observed in the recent months when power outages have become increasingly common. This is paying La République du Cameroon in her coins. The La Republic of Cameroon colonial government decided because of Menchum Fall is in Ambazonia, a land they qualify as no fit enough to be developed, but for draining existing resources and ignored to harness it for electricity generation. Or La Republic of Cameroon colonial ministers preferred to waste huge sums of money in creating an artificial dam at Menvele. Now, this is where we will begin the full briefings of 129. How are you doing today?
Good evening, Oni, and good evening, Ambazonians. Well, after the heavy investment in putting in place the Mimbele Dam, the water volume is still not enough to turn the turbines. The electricity supply company has come out in all honesty to say that the reason behind the epileptic electricity supply is as a result of the artificial Bimbili Dam to supply the necessary volume of water. Studies conducted at the mentioned force say that the fall, if harnessed, would be able to generate electricity that could supply Cameroon and other West African states.
Inspired by the colonial mindset, La Republic of Cameroon tried to put in a small amount of resources to have the best of the mentioned fall an unavoidable solution to the energy problem of the country. Because of the inadequacy of Enyo, parts of Amazonia have gone for more than 5 months without electricity. For example, the case of the Alamacho neighborhood in Mankan has gone for about 6 months without electricity.
Well, the outing of Enio has come to expose the lies said by the octogenarian La Republic's ruler of December 31st, 2023, in his end-of-year speech, where in his speech said that the problem of constant blackout would be a thing of the past with the completion of the main Valley Dam. Contrarily, Enio is saying the issue is not about uncompleted work at the dam, but the issue is of the volume of water the dam can push. Well, this is the same colonial administration that is hypocritical and brandishing to the world that the Cameroons are one and indivisible, yet they have completely abandoned the Amazonian part of the Cameroon's development wise. Well, you know what this tells you.
Well, moving on, should rape still be a weapon for war? Rape is being used as a weapon of war by the French Cameroon in southern Cameroon, Amazonia. Well, this sad story has it that a young, innocent girl is not the first, and she might certainly not be the last, as the world and the international community has remained mute in the face of a glaring genocide. A young girl whose name is yet to be ascertained was reportedly raped and murdered by French Cameroon military in Santa Bamendo, southern Cameroon. The incident took place yesterday, the 23rd of January 2024. Denizens of Santa local government area have witnessed horrific atrocities committed by the French Cameroon military since the start of the territorial conflict. Significantly, was an incident that took place on the 25th of May 2018 and left 26 innocent civilians gruesomely murdered, including women and children, by French Cameroon genocidal military in Menka, Pien, and Santa Baba local government area.
Well, several cases of rape have been reported over the years with very little intentional attention. Rather, Western nations are turning a blind eye to the extrajudicial killings and systematic genocide amounting to ethnic cleansing in southern Cameroon, where hundreds of villages have been burnt down and reported in well documented investigations. Well, the proper question to ask at this juncture of gross neglect and disdain of human lives would be, is the United Nations and the United Nations human rights handicapped or dysfunctional to serve its actual purpose? Oh, well, from an Oh, well, as you can see, they're a very sad scenario. And from an eyewitness, that young lady was dropped off at the back of a caravan when villagers gathered, took the body to the mortuary.
Meanwhile, in a related development, unidentified gunmen attack equipment pool of bonds company in Ndo local government area. Reports from Ndo local government area, where you're going to be seeing the pictures of equipment pool of bonds, a construction company with headquarters in Yaoundé belonging to one CPDM bigwig, Mr. Njog Eric, destroyed by unknown gunmen in Ndo local government area last night.
Well, Bond was given the contract by La République du Cameroon to straighten part of the history old ring road linking Undu and Nkambi local government area in Donga Matum County at a time colonial annexationist La République du Cameroon and its CPDM bankrupt stooges sang a return to normalcy. The damage caused is enormous and a big lesson to the annexationists that the war of independence in Ambazonia is still in full gear.
Well, moving on, in the words of Colonial President Paul Biya in one of his postings on social media, he says, our country's health map is getting denser each year with the construction of about 100 health centers, colonial subdivisional medical centers, and district hospitals. There are also referral hospitals in almost all 10 regions of the Cameroons, including the University Teaching Hospital in Yaoundé. Now, these medical facilities, by definition, provide healthcare for which medical staff at lower health services lack the skills, the facilities, or both to manage a given clinical condition. That we've proven here on a regular basis. They then seek the assistance of providers at referral hospitals, which are better equipped and specifically trained staff to treat patients with a particular episode of a clinical condition.
Well, the paradox, however, is that with several referral hospitals in Cameroon, with Yaoundé having the best in the country, including the Yaoundé University Teaching Hospital, many top colonial government officials often scurry abroad, even to other African countries like Morocco and South Africa, when they get sick. Currently, there is a correspondence on social media which has not been refuted that the Cameroon colonial government spent the next egg of 40 million francs CFA to for the medical evacuation of Professor Joseph Owona, a former member of the Constitutional Council, before he was called to glory in France.
Well, the correspondence signed by the Colonial Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of La République du Cameroon, Ferdinand Ngongo, and dated 7th of December, ordered the Colonial Minister of Finance to send to France the sum of 39, 39,500,000 francs CFA. In his words, it says, I have the honor to ask you to kindly release and urgently make available to the Embassy of Cameroon in Paris a sum of 39 million naira, million francs CFA support for Joseph Owona, member of the Constitutional Council medical evacuation to France. Well, Undaunted does not object to any Cameroonian who, at this point, would want to go abroad for medical treatment or checkup. What is, however, worrying is that those often evacuated have served for or are serving the colonial government at top positions and earned fabulous salaries and other perks not available to the average civil servants who can't even afford their treatments. You already know that the hospitals in Amazonia, Bamenda specifically, has been underdeveloped. So how much more can they survive with this present government?
Well, with the millions colonial ministers, directors of public enterprises, colonial senators, and more earn, should they be treated abroad while taxpayers earning a minimum income of 46,000 francs CFA monthly pick up their bills? Should top government officials not patronize the local hospitals they pride in announcing their construction in? It's rushing to countries like France, the United States, Morocco, South Africa, and Switzerland when senior colonial government officials, including private citizens close to the regime, not to prove that they do not have faith in the country's referrals hospital because of how dilapidated they know it is. How can a country that wants to emerge in 2035 still be evacuating people abroad and spending whooping sums of 39.5 million franc CFAs on a single individual who at one point was a minister of public health? The irony.
Well, still sad. Well, La République du Cameroon should be able to equip its referral hospital to the point that the colonial head of state and its ministers can consult there when they want to go for medical checkups. But that has not been the case. The health delivery system in the country, especially in the troubled zone of Ambazonia, is nothing to write home about, like I stated earlier. Colonial government apologizes for all boast that the head of state has been constant and firm in his commitment for the health of Cameroonians, as this has been the center of the policy since 1982. But has that come to play? Of course, your guess is as good as mine. Well, in the previous year, public health personnel across the country were on strike to demand improved working conditions and salaries for temporary employees and other demands.
Oh, well, services in colonial government hospitals are supposed to be free and some drugs subsidized. But in practice, services are more expensive than in private hospitals. Patients who do not have money to pay these bills in state medical facilities, we wonder, state medical facilities that are supposed to be free are often detained in hospitals until their bills are paid. Oh, well, this is a breaking news reaching Undaunted that in an electrifying demonstration of tactical prowess, the valiant forces of the Amazonian State Army ASA of Bui County have today delivered a staggering blow to the occupying forces of La République du Cameroon in an audacious daring ambush orchestrated by the esteemed Major General Wonyo. The ASA has unequivocally asserted its presence and determination to defend its national territory and its sovereignty as well. Well, witnesses report that the serene morning was shattered by a fierce exchange of firepower, heralding a battle that has marked a significant escalation in the ongoing struggle for independence. The intensity of the encounter was palpable as courageous Amazonian warriors engaged the invaders with unparalleled valor. Early indications suggest substantial losses have been inflicted upon the forces of La République du Cameroon, demonstrating the resolute spirit and the strategic acumen of the Amazonian military leadership. The ramifications of this engagement are anticipated to resonate through the halls of power in Yaoundé, compelling a confrontation with the invincible resolve of the Amazonian pursuit of self-governance.
As the dust settles on the battlefield, the Amazonian State Army stands as a monumental testament to the quest for liberation, a formidable bulwark against the tides of oppression that have beset the people of Amazonia. We are in the process of gathering more details and will be providing extensive coverage and expert analysis in our subsequent newscast. While we employ viewers to breeze themselves as we release their initial amateur footage, which we for one contains graphics indicative of the stark realities faced by our brave soldiers on the front lines. Just watch the first amateur footage we are getting from the incident.
We for this January 2024. Now for this Air Force. Now Major General Viper this. We die for Mar. Now with this. Now Viper this. Now Viper this. Now General Viper this. Air Force Life. Air Force Life. Air Force Life. Now them that. Now them that decline. Now them that decline. Air Force life. Air Force. Now them that decline. Now them that decline. Now them that. Air Force life. Air Force life. Air Force life. Air Force life. Today, 2024. Today, 2024. Air Force life. Air Force life. Air Force life. Air Force this. Air Force life. Air Force life. Air Force life. In a Viper. Viper on the move. Air Force life. 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 I read this. I General Viper this. I Viper this. The commanders them. Adam this. Adam this. Air Force life. 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 Air Force life.
Oh well, end of the speculation, the confirmed demise of General Efang. The swirling rumors surrounding General Efang's fate have been put to rest. Reliable reports confirm that Efang, the commander of La République du Cameroon's proxy militia, the Amazonian Defense Force, is deceased. The news was disseminated through social media by none other than Cho Ayaba, highlighting the remarkable nature of his passing. Efang, serving under Ayaba's command, had gained international infamy for his brutal act, which included the gruesome beheading of hapless Amazonian victims, sexual assaults on women, and multiple high profile kidnappings, including that of Senator Mundi. His deeds, documented on camera, marked him as a man feared and loathed in equal measure.
Their ultimate irony lies in the manner of Efang's death, allegedly at the hands of the very military he conspired with against his own people, the Amazonians. His death seems to suggest a complex web of allegiances and betrayals within the front conflict. In the wake of these developments, the ADF has called for the reinforcement of Ghost Town, a strategy aimed at civil disobedience through the shutdown of cities. However, this call has been met with staunch opposition from within the Amazonian community itself. The Amazonian State Army, recognized as the legitimate liberation force, has vocally rejected and resisted these measures. The ASA, unlike the ADF, stands as a principal resistance against colonial imposition, fighting unwaveringly for the unequivocal independence of Amazonia. This resistance has placed them in stark contrast to the ADF, which has now been exposed as a collaborator with the Cameroonian colonial military apparatus.
Oh, well, such complex internal maneuvers reveal the multifaceted nature of the struggle for freedom in Amazonia. The recent video circulating online provides a vivid account of the Amazonian State Army's challenge to the ADF's proposed lockdown, showcasing a determined stance against both external forces. Well, at the mournful chapter of General Efang closes, the ensuing dynamic within the Amazonian movement, highlighting not only the strife for sovereignty, but also the fight for the soul of a would-be nation. Well, let's watch the Amazonian State Army denying any of such ghost town activities in Bui County.
Today, the 24th of January 2024, we, the Bui ARF, under the leadership of FM Maddock and Major General Viper, we are on the highway. We have a highway for Kumbu Baminda Road. And we come for the road today. Now for make them clear, no, no say there is nothing like ghost town. There is nothing like ghost town. We the ARF of Bui, we say ghost town in no day and it no go be. Those people where they feel say they feel wake up one day, they just decide ghost town. We know they we deny. We know be for that talk where they ever talk say when elephant they fight, grass they suffer. We know the fight we fight with La Republic, our civilian they suffer. We don't need that. General big number, not be man for Bui. He no be man for Bui. If they want keep ghost town, may they keep am for Momo, not be for Bui. Not be for Bui, we no ever agree that kind of thing. Yes, we don't deny. We don't deny. Today, the 24th, any man. Today, the 24th of January 2024, we, the Bui ARF, under the leadership of FM Maddock and Major General Viper, we are on the highway. We have a highway for Kumbu Baminda Road. And we come for the road today. Now for make them clear, no, no say there is nothing like ghost town. There is nothing like ghost town. We the ARF of Bui, we say ghost town in no day and it no go be. Those people where they feel say they feel wake up one day, they just decide ghost town. We know they we deny. We know be for that talk where they ever talk say when elephant they fight, grass they suffer. We know the fight we fight with La Republic, our civilian they suffer. We don't need that. General big number, not be man for Bui. He no be man for Bui. If they want keep ghost town, may they keep am for Momo, not be for Bui. Not be for Bui, we no ever agree that kind of thing. Yes, we don't deny. We don't deny. Today, the 24th, any man where you want to come up for road here again, or stop any bike or any vehicle where they travel, we no one here again. Because if we hear shake in no day, we go show them saying now we, the ARF, with the road boy. Yes. We then have a highway, Kumbu Bamenda Road. So those people where they think say they feel rule we. Now we the rule boy. No be so soldiers. No be so. No be so. Now we the ARF under the leadership of FM Maddock and Major General Viper. Now we the road this boy. And if any man come over road here again, disturb any civilian, any bike, any vehicle, we no go be d'accord. We no go simplify anything with you. We'll take them for the highest level. Yes. May they go keep their ghost town for Mumu. We don't have a boy. And that talk again, I repeat. When they say when elephant they fight, now grass is suffer. While civilian no go suffer. Because we fight La Republic. So from today, the 24th of January 2024, no ghost town, no lockdown, except we get a meeting where we go decide. We all before we keep ghost town. So that nonsense is stopped today. No be so. No be so. When we decide, we don't decide. Now we the rule boy, or no we the ruler. Now we the rule boy, no. Yes. One spirit, one love. One spirit, one love. We like our brother them. We like our brother them. But then they say our brother they want bring win a headache.
Warning to all of them.
Yes. A warning. We never do rule so we dey now after Mad Dog FM and Major General Viper. All our generals
They are placed.
now they decide. One love, one love.
Well, in an unfolding story that has gripped the southern Cameroon's Amazonia, credible sources have reported that the Fon of Bafut, a high-ranking traditional leader in Amazonia, has been held for questioning by the Colonial Gendarmerie Legion since the morning of January 24, 2024. Well, this detention marks yet another chapter in the fraught relations between the indigenous leadership in Amazonia and the colonial administration of La République du Cameroon. The Fon of Bafut is renowned in Amazonia for his staunch stance in defense of his people's rights and heritage, unlike other traditional leaders such as the Fons of Bui, Mancon, and Babisi, who have been criticized for their alignment with Cameroonian's President Paul Biya's government. The Fon of Bafut has consistently represented the interest of his community rather than serve as an intermediary for the colonial administration.
Well, unconfirmed reports suggest that there may be an attempt by the gendarmerie directed by authorities in Yaoundé to coerce or intimidate the Fon of Bafut into submission. Such actions would represent a significant escalation in the ongoing efforts to maintain Franco-Cameroon hegemony over the region. The reaction amongst the Amazonian populace has been one of the profound concern and resistance. Now, this latest incident is intensifying their resolve as many views it as a way that the fund is not acting right.
Well, many also view this fund as possibly the last influential traditional leader in Amazonia. The international community has yet to respond to these reports, but the eyes of the world are increasingly turning to the situation in Amazonia, as our actions against the Fon of Bafut are set to have substantial implications for the region's stability and the broader fight for Amazonian heritage and self-determination. But we will continue to monitor the situation closely and provide updates as more information becomes available.
To another very interesting report for tonight. We would look at the Amazonian flag misused at AFCON Cote d'Ivoire. Now, a very interesting news reaching Andoncha tells us that yesterday, YTV Sun Mode Monday Afrique, in the course of broadcasting the ongoing AFCON football match, put in place of the Cameroonian flag, the Amazonian flag. Now, let's get a picture of that first of all. So that you can understand exactly what we are trying to explain, just in case you haven't seen that picture. Let's get the picture of the Amazonian flag put in place.
Comme quoi, il faut jouer jusqu'au bout et rester concentré jusqu'au bout. Les matchs du jour ont déjà commencé et là aussi beaucoup d'enjeux.
Oui, avec tous les Ivoiriens devant leur télé, avec leur calculette à la main, pour regarder notamment les scores en cours. Gambie, Cameroun et Guinée-Sénégal, ce sont les matchs qui se disputent actuellement 0-0 pour l'instant, en tout cas après 10 minutes de jeu environ. C'est très très important pour le Cameroun qui doit absolument l'emporter pour se qualifier. Et puis ce soir, vous le voyez, Angola, Burkina Faso et puis Mauritanie, Algérie. L'Algérie très très mal en point, une défaite contre la Mauritanie et c'est fini. Mais finalement, le sélectionneur Belmadi, en fait, il adore ces ambiances, il adore ces matchs avec des millions de gens devant leur poste très tendu comme ça. Bon résumé d'ailleurs de ce que veut dire un match décisif avec Jamel Belmadi. Écoutez.
Moi j'aime la
Prime Reporter.
Well, as seen in that video, Amazonia's flag was put in place of where Cameroon's flag was supposed to be. Well, the significant incident has caused quite a stir from both Cameroons, while French Cameroonians are more agitated about their flag being replaced. The British Cameroons have been more on the anger of their flag being misused by TV Sing Monday Afrique. Well, here is the first reaction from Natalie Yambe, and she says, although written in French, in English it means, meanwhile, TV5 Monday is using a secessionist Amazonia flag to represent Cameroon. This is not a mistake and it is not insignificant. There are two countries that France has been planning to split for ages: Mali with and Cameroon with Amazonia secessionists, she says. In a normal country, the straightforward withdrawal of TV5's broadcasting license would have already been done. Hashtag lady from Sochi, hashtag the night of Naomi, she writes.
Well, because of the so many response this is getting, Mikel Bietong also reacted. He says, Madam Yam, please be serious and consistent with yourself. There is no intention of secession in Cameroon. France would be the last to want a free Ambazonia because it is the one supporting the Yaoundé government in the massacre of the Anglophone population fighting for their total independence. If you claim to be against Francophrique, know that the annexation plan of southern Cameroons by the Francophone Republic of Cameroon from 1961 to 1972 was drawn up by France. Also know that the unitary state decentralization and special status are prescriptions from Paris to the Yaoundé government to keep the all-rich southern Cameroons under control of the Francophrique that you denounce. Know also that it was on the instigation of France that southern Cameroon was divided into the northwest and southwest regions. It was France that pushed President Amadou Ahidjo to abolish all state institutions, which consist of prime minister, parliament, house of chiefs, and government, symbols of the sovereignty of southern Cameroons before the forced reunification of 1961. Tens of thousands of Anglophones have been massacred by the La République du Cameroun army with the support of France, while Washington reduced its military aid to Cameroon in November 2019. Macron's actually strengthened its support 2 years later. You cannot be vehement towards other countries when criticizing France and then smooth things over when it comes to your own country, and even so.
Well, that was a reply of Michel Tong. As we said before, this blunder and misuse of the Amazonian flag on air caused quite a number of reactions that we cannot completely delve into. But here is a brief apology TV Sing Monday Freak gave just today.
Le football, la CAN, la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, avant d'évoquer les matchs du jour, un mot d'excuse à propos de deux erreurs qui se sont glissées dans les panneaux diffusés précédemment concernant les drapeaux du Cameroun et de la République de Guinée, des erreurs corrigées depuis. Nous présentons nos excuses à tous nos téléspectateurs. Le programme du jour, on y vient. Le groupe E et F, les groupes E et F vont livrer leur verdict. Tout est ouvert dans le...
Oh, well, just in case you're thinking that was all, then you'd be mistaken, as such blunders of a nation cannot pass by without the government of that said nation in the question not responding to it. Hence, we have this communique from the mouthpiece of the government of Ambazonia, that is the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE, where he highlights the stance of the government of Ambazonia regarding the issue on ground.
Well, from the press release, just like you see it on the screen, it addressed the misuse of the Southern Cameroon Ambazonian flag and has asked the TV Sen Monday to apologize to Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Well, we would be waiting for that apology.
Oh, well, La Republic seems to be on the hot seat again this time. What is this about? We'll take a look.
Seven diplomatic institutions accredited to Colonial Yaoundé have urged La République du Cameroon government to do all it takes for perpetrators of the killing of renowned Yaoundé-based journalist Arsène Solomon Mbane Zogo, better known as Martini Zogo, to be brought to justice. The fresh call made by the institutions grouped under the Media Freedom Coalition is contained in a joint statement issued on the 22nd of January.
Member countries of the Media Freedom Coalition who jointly issued the statement include the United States of America, USA, Belgium, Canada, France, Italy, Great Britain, and the European Union, the EU, delegation to La République du Cameroon. Well, the coalition stated in the joint statement issued that today marks 1 year since Cameroonian journalist Martin Zogo was found brutally murdered. We, the members and partners of the Media Freedom Coalition, acknowledge the La République du Cameroon's colonial government's efforts to investigate his murder and its circumstances, they added. Well, they added this while stressing the need for the perpetrators to face the sledgehammer of the law. The coalition members charged the colonial government to ensure an independent and free media in the Cameroon's crucial in everyday democratic society. The release also detailed that every effort should be made to bring the perpetrators of the heinous crime to justice and recall the crucial role free and independent media play in the Cameroons and all over the world in democratic and open societies.
Well, it should be recalled that the then station manager of Amplitude FM and host of the flagship radio program was declared missing on the 19th of January 2023. On January 2023, the corpse was discovered in an advanced state of decomposition with signs of torture at Ebogo near Soir on the outskirts of the nation's capital city. Following an autopsy report performed on the body, it was reported that the body of the media man had suffered severe torture and body part mutilated.
The colonial minister of communications, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, in a communique back then announced that a special investigation into the circumstances leading to his kidnap and torture to death had been ordered by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. Despite some arrests made one that year, several questions remain unanswered as to who ordered the kidnap and subsequent killings of the radio host.
While several high-profile figures have been arrested, some of whom are still in pre-trial detention, including business mogul Jean Perret and Morgo Belingua, and now former head of Directorate General for External Research, Leopold Maxime Ekoeko, and his assistant Justin Dowie. However, the arrested persons have been put on trial on charges of complicity in murder of the late journalist. But then, who masterminded the killing? Well, we'll definitely bring you up to speed as that particular report continues to unfold.
Well, reports reaching Undaunted have confirmed that the failed colonial La Republique is terminating a Kondo TT Kumba Road contract, citing security challenges, when the same lies telling country shouts a return to normalcy at rooftops. In a decision signed on January 15th this year, the Colonial La Republic Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ngano de Jumasi, announced the termination of contract awarded in 2016 to Sorobat and Betcome International. This contract's worth 38.2 billion francs CFAs concerned the supervision and construction of the Ekondo Titi Kumba Road, that is about 60 kilometers in the southwest region. They were terminated due to force majeure resulting from insecurity in the region, which led to attacks on company workers and vandalism of equipment, resulting in loss of life.
Well, the road construction contract was awarded to the Tunisian company Saroubat, while Bet Commerce International was responsible for overseeing and technically monitoring the construction works as part of the 3 year emergency plan to accelerate economic growth in the Cameroon. The responsibility for the project has been transferred to the Rapid Intervention Battalion since last year, incurring a cost of 40 billion francs CFA. However, the presence of this unit for the execution of services covered by contracts constitutes of formal defects, hence the nation explains the source at the military of public works.
Well, the termination in effect since May 2018 provides an avenue for addressing any potential claims by Surabat and Betcome International. The Ministry of Public Works states that both parties will engage in a collaborative settlement process outlined in a protocol agreement. The Babaju Bamenda Road has remained a sing song since 1979. You can count how many years that has been when former colonial La Republic dictator Ahijo launched the project. The ring road the dictator Paul Biya promised to supervise has been waiting for that action since 42 years and counting. Oh, well, on the African scene, an ongoing discourse of colonial era spoils, a landmark development headlines the news. UK loans crowns jewels back to Ghana after 150 years, a step towards a restitution. Such an announcement hints at a thawing in relations and recognition of past transgressions as the United Kingdom agrees to lend significant Ghanaian cultural artifacts long showcased within the walls of the esteemed Victoria and Albert Museum and the British Museum. The collection, including invaluable pieces like a gold peace pipe and a ceremonial sword of state, is set to feature at Kumasi's Minehas Palace Museums, albeit temporarily. This gesture symbolizes a profound event, more than mere museum exchanges, and not to a grudging acknowledgement of imperialistic wrongs, a move paralleling the quiet yet significant return of a 2,000-year-old marble head from Switzerland to Libya, while the UK's approach softly tiptoes through diplomatic undercurrents, facilitating collaborations and cultural dialogues. One cannot help but ponder the gravity of this issue. Why merely a loan and not a permanent return? This question casts a towering shadow, much like the sun over the Saharan expanse, revealing intricate complexities of legal and moral landscapes that govern museum acquisitions and the repatriation of cultural heritage. The reluctance points to deeply ingrained legislative hurdles that currently bind UK museums, a systemic brittleness warranting scrutiny and perhaps a touch of reformist spirit.
Now, in turning our gaze to the copper-rich heartlands of Zambia, we witness a starkly different narrative where it unfolds. A human battle against the earth's treacherous scabs. In Ndola, determined rescue teams forged through water and mud to reach seven miners, a brotherhood of Zambian nationals and Chinese workers, ensnared with the abyss of a copper mine. With the community in bated breath, the ordeal draws a familiar parallel with recent mining incidents continent-wide, indicating a recurring pattern of occupational perils faced by African miners. The presence of Chinese expert group accentuates an international camaraderie amidst the critical rescue operations, echoing past events, from the grim fatalities in South African platinum mines to the miraculous deliverance of Zimbabwean miners, encapsulating a spectrum of tragedies and triumph that strike at the core of Africa's extractive industries. In examining these contrasting stories, there emerges a broader narrative of African resilience and the complexities of its interplay with the West. These incidences are not merely local news but markers on the roadmap of a continent's journey towards regaining sovereignty over its cultural narrative and ensuring safe stewardship of its natural resources. Our relationship with Western institutions from museums to mining corporation, remain tainted by historical imbalances. Yet, in each act of cultural diplomacy or earthbound heroism, a clearer vision of self determination and equitable partnership strives to break through.
To thank the people of China for showing serious concern over this matter. This is an accident, and when there's an accident, people must work together and collaborate. Human lives comes first.
So we have appealed to the Chinese mining companies in Zambia to provide the necessary equipment and expertise. And also, an expert group from China will arrive tomorrow, and they will also, provide their professional advice of how we can carry out this rescue team.
Oh, well, as the UK learns of Ghanaian treasures, prompt debates on cultural patrimony and the ethics of historical reparation, Zambia's mining crisis underscores the ongoing issues of worker safety and the dire need for international cooperation in crisis management. Both stories reflect the broader struggles and collaboration shaping the African experience in a post colonial world. Apologies for that brief break in transmission. Well, as the UK's loan of the Ghanaian treasures prompts debate on cultural patrimony and the ethics of historical reparation, Zambia's mining crisis underscores the ongoing issues of worker safety and the dire need for international cooperation in crisis management. Both stories reflect the broader struggles and collaborations shaping the African experience in a post colonial world where the shadows of the past loom as large as the demands of the present.
Well, on an open scale, as Africa cuts a path into the future, or in some cases, the loan of cultural artifacts from the West becomes emblematic of a recognition long overdue. And perhaps it is these intricacies of international relationship and heritage institution that will define the emerging discourse of the continent once petitioned, now persistently reclaiming in agency and rewriting its engagement with the world.
Zimbabwe opposition figures' conviction and Mali mine collapse. This is a testament of political tensions and safety oversights generally in Africa. In a verdict that underscores the fraught political climate of Zimbabwe, opposition figure Job Sikala was found guilty of inciting public violence and now faces faces up to a decade behind bars. The conviction cast a spotlight on the delicate state of African politics, where the line between dissent and disorder remains heavily contested.
Well, Sikala, a prominent critic of Zimbabwe's ruling party, was accused of catalyzing confrontation following the death of activist Mo Blessing Ali, charges he rigorously refuted, claiming his involvement was purely legal advocacy. Despite his assertions, a charged piece of video evidence seemingly portraying a call to revenge swayed the magistrates against him. This conviction ripples beyond the borders of Zimbabwe, spotlighting the perpetual struggle for opposition parties in many African nations. It raises critical questions regarding the boundaries of political expression and could potentially set challenging precedents for political dissent perceived as unlawful across the continent. Now let's get the news across the globe. World news across the globe. Let's start with the US striking in Yemen with international concern. In a concerning chain of events, the United States finds itself increasingly embodied in a complex and escalating conflict in the Middle East, with recent actions sparking international debate over their long term implication on global politics. Over the past fortnight, US and UK forces have executed targeted strikes across the Houthi militants in Yemen who are accused of jeopardizing commercial shipping through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. These maritime incidences, propagated by the rebels in response to Israeli military activities in the ongoing Gaza conflict, have heightened regional tensions. The Houthis, a Yemeni faction formerly known as Ansarullah, have remained embattled with the Saudi-led coalition and Yemen's government for much of the past 10 years. With the US now striking Houthis' positions, the international community watches with trepidation as the potential for wider escalation looms without a clear strategy for disengagement. US currency languishes as BRICS pursues a de-dollarization. Now, in financial realms, the BRICS nations' concerted efforts to sidestep the US dollar in global transactions have begun to show impact as the American currency slides to the bottom of the top 10 strongest currencies worldwide. A Forbes report confirms that the US dollar now trails behind its peers, while the Kuwaiti dinar dominates the ranks owing to Kuwait's vast oil reserves and robust fiscal policies. Currently, one Kuwaiti dinar secures 3.25 US dollars on the market, a testament to the shifting sands of global economic power.
Well, let's take a look at the military maneuvers as U.S. deployment of new missile systems in the Pacific raises alarm. On the military front, the U.S. Army's activation of an additional Typhoon mid-range capabilities, that's the MRC unit, armed with the versatile SM-6 missiles, marks a significant pivot towards addressing strategic range gaps within their arsenal, intended for use in the Western Pacific as a countermeasure against China. The new missile deployment also serves to address various tactical scenarios involving Russia. Despite the primary defensive label as an air defense missile, the SM-6 adaptation for land strikes significantly boosts the U.S. posture in a theater already bristling with geopolitical rivalries. Adding to these developments, September 2023 witnessed the deployment of the Typhoon MRC's SM-6 variant on Bornholm, a Danish island situated in the Baltic Sea, a move that has drawn sharp objections from both China and Russia. This latest military enhancement, act indicative of a broader strategical framework aimed at deterring potential adversaries, represents a notable shift in the U.S. military's operational capacity. With such advancements being closely monitored by rival nations, the global political landscape remains vigilant of the changing tides of military power and influence. The strategic chessboard that constitutes international relations is experiencing a tumult of movement. With the U.S. reasserting its military presence in the Western Pacific and Middle East, challenging the naval dominance of adversaries and facing a currency deep in the economic realm, the geopolitical landscape is changed with complexities. These actions set against the backdrop of a global reshuffling of power balances herald a tenuous future for international diplomacy and economic stability. Analysts are closely observing these developments for their potential to redirect established alliances and flame existing geopolitical flashpoints as the US commits to new conflicts and military innovations. The response from global powers will undoubtedly shape the political narrative for years to come.
Meanwhile, in an evolving geopolitical tapestry, the specter of a second Trump administration looms large with global events happening. The polls heralding Trump's lead paint a scenario that may well shift the axis of global politics and military strategies. In one corner of the world, Germany, a cornerstone of European stability, is charting a new military course under the shadow of Russian aggression in Ukraine and its demonstrated prowess in electronic warfare. The German Defense Ministry, led by Boris Pistorius, is embracing bold steps. The Bundeswehr Germany military is pushing past conventional boundaries, considering an unprecedented special visa scheme to recruit foreign nationals into its rank, with an ambitious target of bolstering its forces by 20,000 troops. This move, while exceptionally, echoes a sentiment felt across much of the continent. The need for a robust defense in uncertain times speaks volume.
Well, the militarization does not end there. Iran, a nation long shadowed by sanctions and international scrutiny, has made giant strides in defense, significantly enhancing its drone capabilities with the acquisition of a formidable fleet of combat and reconnaissance UAVs, irons positions itself as a burgeoning power in unmanned warfare, signaling a shift in regional power dynamics and underlying the importance of technological dominance in modern military doctrine. Well, as Russia continues to cement its stature as an electronic warfare juggernaut, a potential Trump White House raises questions about the future of NATO alliances and the West's response to this expanding threat. The strategic focus Trump will place on the U.S. military and cyber capability remains matter for conjecture, but global preparations suggest that nations anticipate a greater push towards self-sufficiency and readiness for multi-spectrum conflict. These military augmentations and advances in warfare technology seem to go beyond mere posturing. While they don't unequivocally indicate a march towards a third world war, they speak to a world preparing for a landscape where digital battlegrounds and unmanned systems play decisive roles and where alliances might be tested. As nations calibrate their defenses, the conversation around these developments is nuanced. There is an understanding that preparation does not necessarily predict conflict, but rather indicates a shift to a more defensive global stance and rising tensions and re-emerging national rivalries. In summary, as the world cautiously eyes the prospect of a second Trump presidency, the global dynamic is poised on the brink of transformation. Military enhancements, including Germany's recruitment strategies and Iran's leap in drone warfare, coupled with Russia's electronic warfare capabilities, are reshaping international strategies. The common thread across these narratives is clear. The world is not bracing for a war, but preparing for a future where might, be it human or machine, digital or physical, ensures survival and sovereignty amidst the uncertainties of international politics.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of World News. Right about now, let's meet Gab Ellison in their sports studio.
Latest world sports. Football. Total Energies CAF AFCON enters knockout rounds with mouth-watering fixture. Total Energies CAF AFCON enters knockout rounds with mouth-watering fixture. The group stage of the Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 concluded on Wednesday night, setting up some highly anticipated knockout stage clashes. The group stage produced everything expected of the great the Total Energies CAF AFCON is made of: stellar shocks, goals, records, history, and passionate fans turning up at match venues. In the marquee match of the round, defending champion Senegal will take on tournament hosts Côte d'Ivoire. The Elephants suffered a shock 4-0 thrashing by Equatorial Guinea in their final group game, but still advanced. They now face the daunting task of overcoming an informed Senegalese side yet to drop points. Two more African heavyweights will collide while Nigeria meets Cameroon. Both teams had uneven group stages but remained continental powerhouses. Elsewhere, Morocco topped their group without conceding and will look to continue their fine form against South Africa. After surprisingly winning Group A undefeated, underdogs Equatorial Guinea will try to cause another upset against Guinea. First-time knockouts Namibia face a stern challenge from two-time quarterfinalists Angola. Despite an underwhelming group stage, Egypt's pedigree as the most successful Total Energies CAF AFCON nation makes them dangerous opponents for DR Congo. Other intriguing clashes see Mali take on Burkina Faso, while Cape Verde battle Mauritania. With sudden death matches between some of Africa's top sides, the Total Energies CAF AFCON round of 16 promises pulsating action and drama as heavy favorites and plucky underdogs collide. Zvonimir Boban, quits UEFA over proposed Alexander Catherine rule change. UEFA's technical director Zvonimir Boban has quit in protest at Alexander Catherine's intention to stay on for a further term as president. Catherine was elected in 2016, replacing Michel Platini, and one of the reforms he put in place was a 3-term limit for all executive appointments. However, he's trying to change the rule to remain in power until 2031. The former Croatian midfielder, Boban, called the move beyond comprehension. While Catherine was elected, he campaigned on a reform ticket and insisted no president should serve more than 3 terms in office. He is due to step down in 2027, but Slovenian supporters are working on a plan to amend the 3-term limit rule. If successful, Catherine, who was unopposed when he was re-elected last year, could stand again in 2027. The amendment, which his supporters want as Catherine took over partway through Platini's 4-year term in office, would mean any appointment before 2017 would not be counted as part of the allowable 3 terms. UEFA Executive Committee member and former Manchester United Chief Executive Dave Gill spoke out against the move at a recent Executive Committee meeting, with his argument being that it looks bad for UEFA. However, it appears it will be ratified at next month's Congress in Paris. Boban, who chaired UEFA's new football board, which comprised of an array of star names, including Jose Mourinho, Carlos Ancelotti, and Gareth Southgate, and was intended to bring an independent voice to some of the game's biggest issues, believes this is unacceptable. Despite having expressed my deepest concern and total disapproval, the UEFA president does not consider there to be any legal issues with the proposed changes, let alone any moral or ethical ones, and he intends to move forward regardless in pursuit of his personal aspirations, he said. Ironically, it was the UEFA president himself that proposed and launched a set of reforms in 2017, which were introduced to prevent such a possibility. These rules were designed to protect UEFA and European football from the bad governance, which for years had unfortunately been the modus operandi of what is often referred to as the old system of football governance. The reforms were to football's great credit and that of the UEFA president. His shift away from these values is beyond comprehension. I fully appreciate that nothing is ideal, let alone myself, and at times compromises may be necessary. However, being party to this will go against all the principles and values I wholeheartedly believe in and stand for. I am not trying to be some sort of hero, especially as I am not alone in my thinking here. During the past 3 years, my relationship and collaboration with the UEFA president and all my colleagues at UEFA has been excellent. I am thankful for this, and I wish them all the best. It is with sorrow and a heavy heart I have no option but to leave UEFA. Basketball. NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo leads Milwaukee Bucks to win in first game after coach Adrian Griffin sacked. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 35 points to lead the Milwaukee Bucks to victory in their first game since dismissing head coach Adrian Griffin. Antetokounmpo had his 7th triple-double of the season, racking up 18 rebounds and 10 assists as the Bucks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 126-116. Griffin was sacked on Tuesday despite a 30-13 record, the second best in the NBA. The Bucks are set to appoint Doc Rivers, external, as Griffin's successor. Griffin succeeded Mike Budenholzer in June after the Bucks, the 2021 NBA champions, were dumped out of the first round of last season's playoffs. The Bucks made a blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard in September, adding the star point guard to a roster that includes Antetokounmpo, a 2-time most valuable player. Rivers was sacked by the Philadelphia 76ers in May, with the team having lost in the conference semifinals in each of his 3 seasons in charge. In Wednesday's other NBA games, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander posted 32 points and 10 assists in 3 quarters as the Oklahoma City Thunder won 140-114 at the San Antonio Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, last year's #1 draft pick, led the Spurs with 24 points and 12 rebounds. Thunder now have a 31-13 record along with the Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who won 118-107 at the Washington Wizards. Anthony Edwards scored 38 points for the Timberwolves, while Karl Anthony Towns added 15 of his 27 points in the third quarter. Meanwhile, the Phoenix Suns trailed by 16 points in the second quarter before outscoring the Dallas Mavericks 43-20 in the third, in which Devin Booker scored 22 of his 46 points. The Suns went on to claim their 7th straight win, 132-109, while Luka Doncic led hosts Dallas with 34 points. Gab Ellison reporting for Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
right, thank you so much, Gab Ellison, for that report. And with that report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's take a look at the major stories.
On Undaunted tonight, we brought to you the diplomatic institutions pressure La Republique to bring killer of journalists to book and the paradox of quality health in La Republique. We brought to you the persistent blackout as La Republique ignores mention for and chooses Mimvelidab. Colonial La Republique soldiers rape and kill a young girl.
Well, tonight on Undaunted, we brought you the Africans' quest for cultural restitution amid Western ties and U.S. entrenchment in Middle East tensions and global currency shuffling amid military advancements on the foreign scenes. And most importantly, on the breaking news, we told you how the Amazonian State Army is diving miraculously and graciously on the home front, as well as the Fon's story. That was it for tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news untold stories. On behalf of Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless you.